Charlamagne the God here.
Andrew Schulz.
We are the Brilliant Idiots. Thank you for another week fucking with us.
Yeah, and thank you, Christian
us.
Laettner, for being the greatest college basketball player to ever play basketball.
Not the greatest.
One of the greatest. By far the greatest.
No.
Who's better than him?
As far as what?
College basketball players.
Shaq was amazing at
Shaq
LSU.
got how many rings
I don't
did he
give
get?
a shit.
How many rings did he get?
I don't give a shit.
How many was that?
Shaq was. They told Shaq, you got to get the fuck out of here.
0.
Christian stayed there all 4 years.
0 to dominate, motherfuckers. Domination.
He was dope. Listen, he was good.
Final Four appearances.
Hey, listen, I'm not.
Most points in NCAA basketball history.
I'm not knocking nothing
Most points in NCAA tournament history.
And then washed in the NBA.
So, he got it. I said college. I didn't say anything about the NBA.
How good are you?
I didn't say anything about the NBA.
Stay there 4 years with your big ass dick. Of course you're going to fuck all the young girls.
Yeah, get it in.
Fuck the shit
he didn't
out
have enough sperm for the NBA.
He definitely didn't.
His sperm was worn out.
His dick was not the biggest in the NBA. But listen, this episode is brought to you by the Christian Laettner of hair care products. Tristan Walker. You know what I'm saying? Tristan, you're doing good now.
Champion, Tristan. You're a champion. All right, don't let Charlamagne tell you shit.
You're doing good with Bevel now, but what about when you get to the big leagues? Nah, we fuck with Bevel, man. They're the first and only shaving system designed specifically for coarse, curly hair and sensitive skin. Step up your shave game and say goodbye to razor bumps. Check out getbevel.com today. Use code IDIOTS to get 20% off your first month at getbevel.com. That's GETBEVEL.com.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy, though? I never hated Christian Laettner. I never hated Duke. Like, I never...
No, I like Duke. You either like Duke or you hated him. Duke was either your team or you hated him.
I didn't like them, but I didn't dislike them. I never was a fan. I mean, I used to watch college basketball, but I don't have a college basketball team.
Yeah.
I used to root for the Gamecocks because I'm from South Carolina.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when the Fab Five was popping, I liked the Fab Five because they were, as all the fucking documentaries and shit say, they represented the culture. They represented hip hop.
Yeah. I don't root for losers.
They weren't losers at the time.
Yeah, they lost.
They were incredible.
They didn't win any championships like Christian Laettner did.
But they was incredible.
Like Duke did.
I used to like the Running Rebels. The Running Rebels was beast. Larry Johnson, Stacey Augman, Greg Anthony. They were beast. I mean, I used to like the black teams, to be honest.
Hey man, the Fab Five was a cool team, but sometimes cool doesn't get it done. Coach K gets it done, baby.
You know the problem with the Fab Five?
You don't play around. They lost.
You know the problem with the Fab Five?
They lost.
Not only that, but you know what else?
Care too much about their sneakers.
Too soon. No, they jumped off the porch too soon.
Oh, they got out of the
exactly.
Yeah.
They stayed the junior year, absolutely would have won the championship.
Nah, I can't say absolutely.
Absolutely. They'd have dominated. They'd have been undefeated with their junior year. Absolutely.
I think I'm going to have to call a timeout in this conversation.
No question. What do you mean?
You familiar with the lore of the Fab Five?
What was the
Chris
the North Carolina shit? Yeah.
Called the timeout when they didn't have it.
Yeah, because they was young. Listen, the Fab Five was a prime example of jumping off the porch too early. Everything they wanted, everything they wanted to achieve, they would have got their junior year without question. But everything happens the way it's supposed to happen.
I mean, they had good careers, and Chris and Jalen.
Chris Webber had a great career. Jalen had a solid career. Juwan Howard had a solid career. Juwan Howard just fucking retired.
In the fucking league, I thought.
He's a coach. He's assistant coach for the Heat.
All right, but still, he played, and he was like a veteran for 20 years or something like that.
He was exactly.
Yeah.
But they were dope. I mean, what the fuck you want to say, yo?
I like Jalen. Jalen's cool to me. I like his commentary.
Jalen and Chris Webber still got great careers. They still do motherfucking. They're anchors. What do you call them? Shit, journalists, whatever the fuck.
Commentators. Yeah.
Whatever the fuck.
Whatever the fuck.
I don't know.
All right, let's just talk about Dame, man. Come on, let's give the people what we want. How
Damon Dash?
Damon Dash.
It's another great Breakfast Club interview.
He's so stupid.
It was. So what you want me to say? It was another great Breakfast Club interview.
All right, this is what I will say about the situation. First of all, your composure was outstanding.
Listen, why am I being complimented on my composure now? Fredro Starr called me pussy 30 times.
Let me tell you why you're
called me a bitch 30 times.
Let me tell you why you're being
yelled and screamed.
Black privilege is why you're being complimented on your composure. Because the expectation for a black man in hip-hop music is to start swinging anytime anybody disrespects him or do something like that. And you stayed calm, cool, and collected the entire time. He was clearly going at you. He was trying to aggravate you.
No, he clearly wasn't going at me.
He told you to shut up, and you shut up.
He didn't say
multiple
shut up.
times. He said, stop and then you stop.
Yeah, of course.
That is some disrespectful
no.
shit.
You know why? Because I know something that you don't know. Which is not the overtalk guest.
Listen,
and you gotta let. No. And you gotta let. And I told you this over the phone.
Don't attack me.
I told you this over the phone. You let the interviewer go. That's what they're there for.
Look.
Listen, do you think Dr. Phil tells Nick? Do you think Dr. Phil tries to interrupt Nick Gordon when Nick Gordon is going off on a tangent?
Look, I believe that you're right. I'm complimenting you here. I think you did the right thing in the interview.
Yeah,
I think that if I'm an executive at iHeartRadio, I give you the keys to the mansion, dude.
They already are. But listen, Dame wasn't hostile.
So here's the Dame was absolutely and completely.
Fredro was hostile.
Hostile and dominating.
Dame was what I expected him to be.
He reduced you to a chatty patty. He said that he removed all of your power in the interview because anything that you said in the interview, this is what I'm saying. I compliment you for not you didn't. Envy gave his words power. You refused to give Dame's words power.
Listen, first of all,
Envy got upset by what he called him. You laughed it off, and whatever happened between you and Dame, it made Dame look silly. Between Envy and Dame, Envy looked silly. Between you and Dame looked like the silly one, and that's on you.
But I'm gonna tell you two things. First of all,
you brought that out in him.
Got you. But listen, when you have somebody talking in circles, if you follow the words of the person that's talking in circles, it's you that gets dizzy. Yes, always remember that.
Yes.
So when Dame Dash says, first of all, when he went on Sway's show and was a chatty patty and said that Jay-Z runs with informants.
He is a chatty patty.
Yes, but he said Jay-Z runs with informants, possible snitches, but never named the name of the snitch. But when I said the name of the snitch in the interview, Dame goes, but I didn't say names.
Who was that?
Her name is Desiree.
Desiree, yeah.
But I don't even know if she's an informant. I don't know, but I'm just telling you the story that was said in the New York Daily News. But when I brought up her name in the interview, Dame goes, but I didn't say names. I didn't say names. But you got mad at me and called me a chatty patty for not saying names because I wouldn't tell him who said he had a terrible attitude and was hard to work with and hard to deal with at the radio station.
You had a phenomenal demeanor, and I think that it's obvious that Dame is a hypocrite. You know, you've proved
all humans are hypocrites in a way.
Sure.
He's just a little bit more hypocritical than everybody else.
Sure. I think he's hypocritical and dominating. Like, he's a dominating force.
He's dominating.
It's rare that somebody goes into the Breakfast Club and dominates that show.
That's not true.
Who's dominated that show?
We let all guests dominate. All of them.
That's not why people listen to the Breakfast Club. They're not like, you know what I want to hear today? Somebody go on and dominate Envy, Angela, and Charlamagne the God.
When you say when you say dominate, you're making it seem like dominate like
I talk, you guys talk when I allow you to talk.
Okay, listen. And that's what we do with guests. We allow them to dominate. Tiger, you don't get nothing out of Tiger if you don't let him talk. You don't get nothing out of Kanye if you don't let him talk.
Different dynamic.
You don't get nothing out of Fredro if you don't let him go.
Different dynamic.
Same thing.
Dynamic.
The only difference is Dame was yelling.
Nobody came at Dame.
And screaming.
Nobody came at Dame.
Yes, we did.
Who? How?
Absolutely.
How?
You come at Dame when you say, you used to get checks from Def Jam. And listen, this is all me.
And then shut it down.
That's all you need.
But he shut it down immediately.
No, he didn't. He made himself look crazy because he goes, I didn't used to get checks from Def Jam.
Partnership.
No, it's bullshit. That was
the last word.
This
the last word was partnership.
He said, I never got checks from Def Jam. We set up a platform. We produced, performed, and got paid for it. What's the difference?
If it's a partnership, it's a partnership.
She's still getting checks.
Sure, but if it's a partnership, it's a 50-50 relationship. It's a 50-50 relationship.
There's no such thing as that when you're Def Jam and you're you're Rockefeller under the Def Jam Universal umbrella.
Is it 50-50?
I don't even think it's 50-50.
Well, then he's a liar in that case. But if but if it's not, then
when I said to him, Leo Cohen, when I said to him, Leo Cohen was your boss. Leo Cohen was not my boss. Leo Cohen was just someone they put in position after Russell left to watch over the niggas.
Well, that sounds like a boss.
That's all I'm telling you.
This
is what I'm telling you. In certain cases, and this is one of the 48 laws of power, you state the obvious, state the honest opinion, and let the public opinion hang the person speaking. So that's what had happened in this interview. Dame went on for 75 minutes of pure contradiction and hypocrisy. And some people, and you know what? Some people agree with what the fuck he was talking about.
I think that Dame was a fascinating interview because I think he's incredibly persuasive and manipulative, and he understands.
If you don't know no better.
Sure, if you don't know no better. And I think that, you say all the time, you got to give people the credit that they deserve for being stupid because a lot of people are stupid. And his arguing techniques are pretty awesome and can work if you allow them to work. To your credit, you did not allow them to work.
No.
And I've complimented you throughout the week on this.
Yeah.
Though I do think that you guys were dominated by him. I think that you allowing the domination shows your caliber of interview. I was thoroughly impressed.
There is no interviewee. No, that would make me the interviewer. There's no interviewer who's good who gets in the way of the guest.
I was blown away. I was blown away.
Go far back. Here,
okay.
let me throw a log on the fire. Leo Cohen's your boss. Let me throw another log on the fire. You got checks from Def Jam.
This was the best. This was the best. You're a chatty catty or chatty patty, Charlamagne, and then this is your response. Okay, Dame.
I'm a chatty patty.
The laugh and the brush it off the shoulder makes him look so juvenile. By being upset by that statement, like Envy was upset, makes Envy look juvenile. Now it's some schoolyard brawl, which I thought that you pacified very well.
And I'm going to tell you something very good that Dame did. It was a great deflection because it was a deflection based on, yet again, here's another example of you having a bad attitude and people not wanting to work with you. Because he said that, y'all are slaves. Y'all have to do what y'all are told. And I said to him, if that was the case, you wouldn't be here. Because there's people up here right now that don't like you and did not want you here. Because when you used to work here, because people don't know that Dave used to work at Power 105.1. Right. He had a radio show.
He had a boss? What?
Yeah. When you used to work there.
It was a partnership radio
It was a partnership,
show. Yeah.
When you used to work there, nobody wanted to work with you.
Yeah.
Nobody. Then you left and went to satellite radio and the same thing happened. So he had to defer. He didn't even say Chatty Patty first. First he goes, you lying. He goes, who? Who said it? I'm like, I'm not saying that.
That was good if you
did
not say.
You lying. Like, why would I say? You would hold up. If he's not going to tell us who the informant was that quote unquote works for Jay-Z, then why would I tell him who told me he had a bad attitude?
No, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, and you have loyalty to somebody.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you a chatty patty to
and it doesn't matter who told. If I tell you right now,
if
I say Schulz, somebody's downstairs with a gun, they want to shoot you. You're not going to say who told you that.
You lying. You lying, bro. I'm going
You're not going to tell me. You're not going to say who told me that.
I thought you handled yourself fucking brilliantly. I've already told you this throughout the week. I already told you this. Yeah, it was so
it's not even
so
tough,
impressed.
Like people act like it's tough to do.
For you, it's not. And are you familiar with Buddhism at all?
Mm-mm. I've heard of it. But
in a weird way, I think you're like super Buddhist. Like you do this. There's this thing I've been reading a little bit about Buddhism because I'm going fucking crazy and I'm trying to like maintain like a calm state. Yeah. And there's this thing called like mindfulness in Buddhism, right? And the way they describe it is there's like three things you can do when something happens. You can either like reject it, ignore it, or reject it, like embrace it, or completely ignore it. So reject it is mosquito, I don't want that around me. Embrace it is dessert, I want it. And ignore it is the flight attendant is given the emergency instructions and you just, I'm not even here. Yeah. They say there's a fourth thing where you acknowledge it that it's there, but you don't really let it affect you, but you don't ignore it.
I've tweeted that so many times, be aware of everything but acknowledge nothing.
So the way they described it is like being behind the waterfall. You know that little part where you're like looking at the waterfall, but it's not crashing on you. Yeah. And that's where you were in that interview. I was like, not to toot your own horn or anything, but like I'm watching like hey, wait a minute, shouldn't you be upset here? Okay, Dame. You were behind the waterfall.
I'm there like that in every interview.
I'm aware of this.
First of all, let's be clear.
I'm complimenting you. I'm not disagreeing with you.
But I'm
Take a compliment.
I'm with you, but I'm telling you, like, if I have on a Roc Nation hat,
yes,
and a Jay-Z T-shirt,
you were aware of what was happening.
For me to be upset of any conflict that could arise would make me look ridiculous. I'm sitting here. I'm not even acknowledging that I had our shirt. Nothing. Listen,
I know.
Not once did I acknowledge it.
It was planned. It was planned. Here's a question.
It wasn't planned. I really did want to wear that shirt that day. And I had just got that Roc Nation hat the day before.
You ain't shit.
It wasn't planned.
You read The Art of War. You ain't shit.
No, it really was a coincidence.
You louse motherfucker.
It was a great coincidence. I didn't even realize I had the shirt on. I'm like, oh shit, I got
okay. I've never seen you in Rockaware nothing. All of a sudden, you got 14 articles of Rockaware clothing. Okay, question. After watching the interview, which I absolutely watched, did you think that Dame's arguing strategy, which is, I felt there's like little bits of like homophobia in it. Do you know what I mean? It's like
that's just Harlem. The whole pause thing, that's Harlem.
Not the pause thing. Like anytime you disagree with me, I kind of accuse you of being gay, Like him and Envy, the whole thing was, he goes, well, this guy said this. Why are we talking about other men? Since when do men talk about other men?
Yeah.
Well, every 4 years when we elect a president, we discuss a man.
My wife, hold on. What's up, baby? I'm doing the podcast. You okay? All right. Okay. Always got to answer the phone when your wife calls, fellas. Sure. Always remember that.
I've already clicked off twice at Sarah calling me.
No, she's not your wife, so
exactly. It's fine. So yeah, I discuss men all the fucking time.
Listen, let's be clear. Let's talk about that.
Do you see the homophobia there? It's like it's not homophobia. It's like I know that Envy will be uncomfortable with me accusing him of doing something that could be misconstrued as gay. So if he doesn't agree with me, now he's gay.
I don't even think it's homophobia. What it is, when you're arguing with somebody, and I can't even say just in the black community, when you're arguing with another man, if you question that man's manhood, instead of him listening to what you say and debating you on what you're debating instead of debating you on what you're actually talking about, he'll spend the whole rest of the time trying to
defending
prove his
manhood.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm just saying he's doing that through kind of questioning his manhood through homosexuality in a weird way. Yeah. And then the second thing he did after homosexuality, it was the slave mentality. Right? It's like, now I'm going to question your manhood. Or do you like talking about other men? Are you really into talking about other men? Are you guys gossipy? Yeah. And the next thing was, I work for myself. You guys have owners. You have daddies. You have bosses. Yeah. So now I got to defend, like you said, I'm defending against having a daddy and a boss instead of the real argument, which is Envy has more money than Dame.
How about like I said during the interview, you're not going to make me feel bad about getting a check.
Yo. I'm telling you, handled it fucking brilliantly.
I have been unemployed 4 motherfucking times. I've been dead broke. You're not about to make me feel bad about getting a check. And this is the thing that kills me about my people, black people, right? Great. We complain about, they'll complain about the unemployment rate in America. Mm-hmm. And how black people don't have jobs and this and that. As soon as Dame Dash gets on the radio,
I'm trying to flip.
It tells y'all that there's no pride in having a job. You motherfuckers is like, I'm quitting my job, yo.
This, I'm bossing up.
I literally had a guy say to me, so when you gonna quit your job and boss up? When you Angela and Ivy gonna open up your own radio station? I said to him, this is my only thing. Why? Why should we do that? He goes, because the line will be out the door with advertisers and you'll be able to make so much money. But I said, shut up. I said, this actually said, I said, shut up. I said, you're not even speaking something you think. You're only reciting this because you heard Dame Dash say it. I said, let me ask you, riddle me this. Mm-hmm. Why nobody going to the white guys and telling them they need to boss up and create their own radio stations? Why nobody going to Ryan Seacrest and telling him he need to open up his own radio station? Going to Elvis Duran, telling him he should open up his own radio station. Going to Bobby Bones, all my guys telling them you should open up their own radio station. Nobody ever went to Howard Stern and said, Howard, you should open up your own radio station. Mm-hmm. Why is it bad for black people to be in a position of employment?
I don't think it's a black thing. I bet you think it's just a race thing?
I just think it's stupid. No, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with owning things because I own a lot of different things. I have equity in a lot of different things. I own a lot of different things. Yeah. But there is nothing wrong with working at an establishment, collecting a check, and using that check to fund other things. Okay. What do you think all of these other guys are doing?
Let's clarify that specifically.
Okay.
Because, and I couldn't agree with you more. He was talking about I'm a boss. I don't have a boss. Yeah. My parents owned a dance studio growing up, right? Okay. They were their own bosses. And they told me a very important lesson. When you are your own boss, everybody is your boss.
Everybody is your boss.
Every person that walks into Dame Dash's son's restaurant and says, hey, go get me a water. You know what you do? You go get that fucking water and you put some goddamn lemon in that fucking water because that's your boss. So you can either have, maybe you have 5 bosses, 10 bosses total. Yeah. Or you can have 1,000 or 2,000 bosses, which is what happens when you have your own business. So this idea that you're your own boss, this kind of nonsense is bullshit and is scary rhetoric because people will literally quit their job and try to flip, which is the worst investment strategy in the fucking world.
I want everybody to remember one thing. We kept asking Dane one question throughout this interview that he would never answer.
Which is?
Where do you get the money? Where do you get the capital to start your own business? He would never answer it.
You can't go.
Money does not grow on trees unless it does in Harlem. I don't know. You can't walk outside and just pull fucking money off trees and then go invest in your business.
Well, it is trees. It's drugs. That's where you get the money in the hood. But if you want to do something legitimately, that's not how it works.
You got to get a job.
You got to get a job.
You got to get a job, and
you never flip. Your investment strategy should never be let it go on black or whatever roulette. Like literally, your investment strategy is the same as just playing roulette at the casino. Why would you ever
explain that for people who don't play roulette?
Okay, so roulette is that game where the ball goes around the wheel, then it can either stop on a number or can stop on a color, right? There's red and black. And red or black, I don't know, maybe you have like a 40% chance of winning each one. Nobody wins money. Nobody goes, you know what I do for a living? Oh, I bet on red. That's what I do for a living. It's been really working out for me.
Yeah.
I flipped my way to a fucking football team. Who in your fucking right mind has owned a football team from just flipping all the money they have over and over again?
Nobody.
Get the fuck out of here.
Nobody. Listen, man, when he said saving money is for suckers, it literally blew my mind.
But elaborate, please, because
he said saving money is for suckers. I guess he's trying to say that he takes his money and he uses it to flip. He's constantly investing in things. That's not smart to me. I'm all about investing, but you invest in the right things. You take your money, you fucking put it away, you put it in the bank, you know, on an interest-bearing account. Yes, diversify your portfolio, and you wait for the right investment. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm not saying I know about money. You even taught me some shit about money this week. Remember, I text you, I'm like, man, I don't know what to do with money. I just keep it in the savings account. You're like, well, you have to have multiple savings accounts because, you know, you're going to lose money on inflation if you just keep it in one savings account.
Interest-bearing accounts, man.
Interest-bearing accounts.
Interest-bearing accounts with his no penalty, with the least amount of penalties as possible. Penalties and what's the other fucking shit? I can't remember right
Whatever,
now.
But point is you diversify, you put in a bunch of different things.
I like looking at my bank account and seeing commas.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. Like, I don't even understand that logic. Like, what do you mean?
I keep my money in the street.
Yes, keep my money in the street.
I keep my money in a bank,
come on, Dame.
bro.
And like when I told Dame, when I was telling Dame, I said, Dame, nobody starts off as a boss.
Yeah.
You did not start off as this tycoon. You just didn't acquire this oil stuff. He goes, yes, I did. Yes, I did. So I had to break it down as elementary as possible. Dame, you did not come out the womb as a boss.
And what did he say?
Yes, I did. That's when the conversation should. That's when I'm gonna be honest with you. That's when I shut down. That's when I'm like, you know what? There's no need to have this conversation with Damon Dash. You gotta just let him talk. And guess what? If you believe him, fine. There is some good points in what he was saying, but 95% of that shit will not work for you.
What was good that he was saying?
I mean, just the mentality of empowerment was good. Yes, you should try to empower yourself.
Yes, but in the right way, man.
In the right way. In the right fucking way. How are you going to do it? You can't just quit your job and be your own boss. And I'm gonna tell you what else was fucked up about what he did.
Yeah.
And I hate, you know, interviews sometimes because hindsight is always. It's not even hindsight of 2020. It's just that you watch it back and you get a different understanding. It's different when you're in the moment having a conversation with a person. It's different than actually watching it back again and getting a different understanding.
You seem when you're in the moment that you're able to watch it. And I know I'm giving you a lot of credit here,
I do.
And I prefer to shit on you on this podcast, but I'm telling you, it was one of the most impressive situations I've seen you in.
But it's weird because it's like it is three of us in there. So the thing about when you're having a conversation with a person, I know that my co-host may not be listening as intently as I am.
Your coach?
My co-host.
Oh, your co-host.
Because I'm listening with the intent to understand, not the intent to reply. And you know, I just finished reading the Fifth Agreement, and that's what the Fifth Agreement is all about: being skeptical but listening. So I'm listening to Dame. So it's like when certain things I want to reply to, somebody else will jump in with something else and turn the whole tide of the conversation. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm saying all of that to say when Dame says things like saving money is for suckers. Why is saving money for suckers? Then when somebody else asks him a question, he can go somewhere else and avoid the saving money is for suckers thing altogether.
So then what do? Do you bring it back to what he said, or do you let the conversation continue?
Well, I'm saying all that to say when I watch back the interview, you see so many flaws in his argument, so many holes in his argument, and you realize how dangerous the rhetoric was.
Like what, for example, when you listen back, did you think that?
I'm like, it's very dangerous to tell. First of all, if you're a businessman like you say, a boss like you say, it's very dangerous to not show any respect for your customers. And when you say things like having a job, there's no pride in having a job.
You're gonna need employees.
You're shitting on your employees, and you're shitting on the everyday consumer who's driving in their car saying, I'm never going to his son's restaurant. I'm never going to buy his son's cookies. I'm not buying Damon Dash's fucking movie because he don't give a fuck about me. And in a lot of ways, that makes you a culture vulture. Because what is a culture vulture? A culture vulture, they say, is a white guy who's not of hip-hop, who is the head of these companies, who in some people's mind doesn't care about the culture. They're just profiting off it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't give a fuck about the consumer, if you don't give a fuck about the regular everyday person with a 9-to-5 job, you look down on them, they don't have no pride in themselves, then you're just making money off them. So in a lot of ways, you're a fucking culture vulture. You don't respect them. You don't respect what they do. You just want to make money off them.
Maybe that's why he's not in the business right now.
Hey, man, I would almost guarantee it.
Because we've had discussions about certain places that don't respect their audience, don't respect their consumer.
Yeah.
And they struggle because they don't respect their consumer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And maybe
you got to respect your consumer's intelligence.
Yeah.
You got to respect your consumer situation.
How do I create a product for you if I don't have respect for you?
How?
How do I create a product you'll like if I don't have respect for you?
Because in their mind, they don't give a fuck if you like it or not. They just want to sell it to you.
That's his thing with the movie, putting it on the internet.
Yeah, go buy my fucking movie. Go buy my like it's.
First of all, nobody puts a movie on the internet if he has a single offer from any other outlet.
Listen, man.
This idea of like I put my own money up is the stupidest thing. You don't put your own money up if somebody's willing to give you money. That's like the first rule of business.
Duh.
If somebody's willing to give you money, you don't put your own money up.
That's what consignment was in the drug game.
Hello?
I'm not going to buy the kid Coke if you're going to give it to me. You're going to front it to me.
And that's what he said in the beginning. He's like, somebody gives me the work and I go use the work. So it's okay to do it with drugs, but when it's with cash for legitimate business, it's not okay. And also the second thing he said, remember about his son? Like he's like, I'm a boss, so my son's a boss. You think that your son being a boss might have something to do with the fact that he grew up with a father who's a millionaire and had the capital to donate to your son so he could start a business?
His son is actually coming to. His son's gonna come on the Breakfast Club and interview him and his business partner. I mean, that's one of my first questions I have for him. Like, so how did you get the money to start your own business? And soon as he says, "Well, my father gave it to me."
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So would you call him your boss or just daddy?
Yo, I'm not going to front, man. I have 3 financial advisors. I have Dr. Boyce Watkins coming to the Breakfast Club. Angela Lee has Charles Payne coming to the Breakfast Club. We've reached out to Susie Orman, somebody who I've interviewed before, because we need some financial literacy amongst the people. I can't even say in the black community, just amongst the people.
Sure.
I understand the spirit of what Dame was trying to say.
Yeah.
Don't follow that bullshit. Don't follow that shit. You're gonna end up getting fucked up. Like when you're coming to me telling me that I need to quit my job and boss up, so I should just quit my nice job that may or may not pay me 6 to 7 figures a year. I'm not, verifying that. But I'm just supposed to quit this job, right? I'm supposed to just quit this job and do what? Just say fuck it?
Update celebrity net worth.
How do I invest into my other things without the capital of iHeartMedia, the capital of Viacom? That's my foundation. Yeah, that's cool. That's how I'm able to go do other things. Brilliant Idiots podcast.
You know what's interesting, I'm glad that we have social media for situations like that interview, right? Dame comes on, does this thing that at first, like we said, some people might misconstrue and be like, oh my God, he went in there and he told those motherfuckers and let them know how the world works, etc. Then we all sit and digest the interview. Then we go on social media and we have this platform to show hypocrisy. You start sending me memes that people are doing of Murder Mook just looking like, oh fuck.
Why'd I start fucking with Dame?
Dame?
My son has cookies.
My son has
You know what I'm saying? Or the picture with Dame with his tooth out and it says, when you're your own boss, you got to pay for your own dental insurance.
Exactly.
Because people are digesting it, taking it in, and they're realizing, they're saying, that was full of shit. Like, what the fuck? But that's my whole point. You allow people to talk and you let public opinion hang them.
And that's what was great about the interview. Instead of getting into a dick measuring match, which I think Envy did, and I don't think was smart.
For no reason.
I think Chris made a good point. He was like, you think that was some like New York hip hop scene?
New York shit,
beef?
Harlem Queen shit. You got to understand, Envy came up under DJ Clue.
Right.
Dame basically signed DJ Clue, put DJ Clue on to that neck. I mean, DJ Clue was always a great mixtape DJ.
I remember the DJ Clue mixtape.
He took Clue from a mixtape DJ, made him a platinum-selling artist.
Fantastic Four, great song.
So Clue was able to start Desert Storm, as a label, sign Fabulous, sign Envy, sign all of these guys. And I think Envy has just witnessed Dame bullying.
So he was not going to be bullied, is that?
I just think it took him back to a bad place where he's seen that so much. You know what I'm saying? He see Dame tease people about money, which Dame also denied in the interview. When I said, Dame, I've seen you so many times clown people for being broke. I never did that. When did I do that? It's like, all right, Dan.
It's convenient that when he doesn't have any money, he's like, why are we talking about another man's money?
And that's why I said you were the main guy always clowning people for being broke.
When you got money, you could talk about it.
Oh, my God. Listen, like I said, when somebody talks in circles, if you follow their words, it is you who gets dizzy.
Now, do you at any point in time, you have like a Zen approach where you're fine with this person hanging themselves and you don't need credit for hanging them?
Absolutely not.
I'll be honest, that shit is difficult for me. Like I'm the type that I want to be out there like, yo, we did this on purpose. I was chill.
People say like, oh, Charlamagne, yo, you get it. You got to get at people. Yo, you didn't get at him. It's like
he got it himself.
He got it himself. I asked him everything that needed to be asked in order for him to hang himself. Here's the rope. Here's the rope. And like people, you know, even with the interview like with Kanye, like anybody you can have a conversation with is different. That's the two type of interviews. You have interviews where you're having a conversation with a person, so you and person are having a back and forth. So it seems so incredibly shocking when I say, yo, your album was whack. You know how many artists I've told their album is whack or they can't rhyme, but because it's Kanye, people make it a bigger deal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? People make it a bigger deal than what it is. Dame, there's no back and forth with a guy like Dame.
Because he's just going to talk the whole time.
He's going to go. So you just let him go.
You knew
you just
when
keep
he's
throwing
coming
logs
in.
on the fire. Listen.
Yeah. I haven't listened to Dame interviews. I didn't know.
Even though I did not purposely wear that Roc Nation hat and that
you ain't
t-shirt.
shit. You ain't shit.
Everything happens for a reason. Okay?
It was illuminated in your closet that morning.
No idea. I was just like, yo, this is nice. It's a nice fit today. You know what I'm saying? I had on black Timbs, PRPS jeans, blue PRPS jeans. It just fit. So
Pulp Fiction when he opens a suitcase and it's green.
Exactly. But when I think about it in hindsight, I'm like, yo, when you wear something like that, knowing that you're going to be interviewing somebody who is just going to talk. You wear that that says everything without saying nothing.
Now, at any time during that interview, are you going, okay, I'm going to let him do this, and then afterwards, the aftermath is going to be brutal?
Oh, no, listen.
Because you get to go back on the radio every day.
Yeah, but it wasn't no need for that because I never had an opinion about Dame Dash. My opinion of Dame Dash was always from a place of respect because I grew up watching the Rockefeller movement. So I never had a problem with Dame Dash. Like, I never cared about Dame cursing people out, yelling at people, yada, yada, yada. Like, I never cared about it.
And now, how do you feel in terms of respect?
I have no problem with nothing Dame's saying other than the financial illiteracy of what he's saying because he's going to get so many motherfuckers fucked up because money does not grow on trees and you cannot just walk outside, pick money off a goddamn tree and fucking invest in things. That's not the way life works. I read something today. It was I think it was the guy who does the Dell computers. He started with $1,000. I think whatever. Now it's worth a $61 billion company, but he started from somewhere. Right. Tupac on Kendrick Lamar's new album, The Pimp a Butterfly. At the end, he goes, I've worked every motherfucking meaningless job known to man, but I worked my way up to be in a position of ownership to where, you know, I've made money for these movie companies and made money for these music companies, but now I'm making money for me and mine. It's a process. You cannot escape the process. Don't listen to Damon Dash when Damon says you come out the womb a boss. Bill Gates didn't do that. Steve Jobs didn't do that. There's nobody who did that. Nobody.
I wonder if these people are listening. Like, why didn't I just be a boss?
Why didn't I just be a fucking boss?
Why would I work at UPS if I could just been a boss? Then?
Yo, it sounds good in theory. Yeah. It sounds amazing.
I quit. What are you gonna do? Boss.
I'm a boss.
I'm a boss now.
I'm a boss up. Like that dude, that one dude who had a conversation with. I'm like, and then I said to him, so. Why does nobody telling Ryan Seacrest, Elvis Duran, those guys to quit their jobs and own a radio station? He goes, because they don't have the clout that y'all do. I'm like, you know what? Me and you don't even need to talk anymore. Clearly you have no idea who Ryan Seacrest is.
I'll be honest.
Clearly you have no idea who Elvis Duran is.
I think you have the draw to do your own thing. Would it be the same platform? Would there be a lot of difficulty? But
the radio station would look like this.
Sure. The radio station would look like this.
It would look like this.
Sure. But if there's anything that I'm not saying you should do it. I don't think that's the right financial move for you right now. But if there's any truth to, or if there's anything that this has shown us doing Brilliant Idiots, that there's a clear draw, absolutely for you and your voice and your opinion out there. I mean, globally, you could argue.
I want to say this before we.
Am I wrong or right?
You're right, but let me say this before we bring in our guest, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When it comes to when it comes to this radio thing, right? All right. I lost my fucking train of thought. What the fuck was we talking
Global,
about?
that people are drawn to you and you doing your own thing is a possibility.
Only reason I lost my train of thought because Chris is talking in the background saying stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck, Chris? Okay.
So, no, we're talking about, I was saying that you guys could do it. If there's one thing that Brilliant Idiots has shown, the two of us at least, is there's a clear draw to your point of view, and people have come here, and I hope that I bring some people as well. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
but listen, this is what I want to say. But what if I don't want to do it? And that's the other thing when you talk about your kids, like when they say things like, you work at a place and you can't get your kids a job here. What if my kid don't want to do radio? What if my kid, what if I build a radio station?
What if my kid wants to play basketball?
Exactly.
Well, he got to start his own basketball league?
Exactly. And that's why you
just
get money.
Yeah.
You get money to leave your kids money. So they can do what the fuck they want to do. What's up, my brother? How are you? Nice to meet you. I met you before.
What's up, man?
I met our guest before once in the In-N-Out Burger in L.A.
Really?
Yep.
Have a seat, man. Speaking of the mic.
Hey, 2
Welcome
years,
to the
3 years.
show.
What's up, man? How are you?
How you doing, man? All right.
I just said what's up. You know what I'm saying? What's up, man? You know what I'm saying?
Talking to the mic, Malik.
That's Malik Yoba.
Exactly. Well, we got it nice for you. Listen, Malik got dressed up for the show today.
I did.
We appreciate it.
People used to say,
Can you smell me?
Yo, you got it.
You was
bike
working
down
out?
there?
You got on your bike stuff?
I was. I came from a little spin class.
What,
That's
Chris?
What I do.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Listen, we got to pay some bills.
Chris has been distracting us all show. Hold on.
Yeah.
All right, get clearer, smoother skin with Bevel. Who doesn't want that? Bevel is the first and only shaving system created for men with coarse curly hair, i.e. this is the first shaving system created for black men. Gentlemen, please stop going out on those dates or those job interviews with big razor bumps all over your face or skin irritations on the back of your neck. I know you've done this before. We've all been there. Think about all the jobs you didn't get, okay? All the times those bumps stopped you from getting laid. All right, and you know you can do better, and that Bevel is the way to do it. It's designed specifically to help you look your best.
Absolutely, and this is also seeing a lot of. I think this is your line.
What, a lot of black women?
No, some white Nubian princesses.
Nubian white queens.
Sorry,
yeah,
Nubian
that's what
white
happens
queens,
when Tristan or Chris tries to make us copy. It's Nubian white queens,
Sorry.
not Nubian white princesses.
You know.
Kylie Jenner is a Nubian white princess
Yes,
only
is.
because she's 17. But
But
come
she's about
August,
to be a queen,
she'll
baby.
be a queen. Okay, when she turns 18.
Ooh, that Instagram pic is going to get all sorts of likes.
But check out getbevel.com today. Use code IDIOTS to get 20% off your first month at getbevel.com. That's GETBEVEL.com.
Get it.
Malik Yoba.
Yes, sir.
People used to say me and you. They used to always say you look like Malik Yoba. They used to always tell me
That was a young version of me.
Yep.
You see, as I'm grizzled now, man. You shoot me, I'm about to get a haircut, all right? So stop shooting this, man.
You're good, man. You're good.
I'm on my way. I got to go do some TV later.
You've
So
been in
what
the
you up
game
to?
for a long time, man.
Decades now. Decades.
how
You
does
can
the
say
book-
that. I'm a vet.
How do you keep getting checks and not get blackballed like Monique?
Wow. Because I shaved my legs.
Exactly. I was gonna say it. I didn't want to say it, but I was gonna say it.
I love Monique, man. Nah, it's a wicked game, man. The real acting happens when they say cut. So I'm a big dude, right? So big physically. So a lot of actors are small, so it can be intimidating. So I've learned that you got to smile a lot in between. That's real.
People,
Like-
so it's like the angry black man thing in Hollywood?
It's not even angry black man, but I just think that you got a business that's really run on fear. You know, a lot of people are afraid to
Really?
make. Yeah, man, people are afraid to make decisions. You know,
Like for example,
look at the types of why is most films from big studios like either books that have already been done, franchise, like Marvel franchise,
proven products.
The safe stuff.
the safe stuff, as opposed to let's go in a realm that we may not be sure of. But that it's a business decision. I get it. You want to hedge your bets, but I just think that in general, people are afraid to say no. They're afraid to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
So people waffle back and forth. You know what I mean? People afraid to be honest. You know.
How does I don't understand how anything gets done when nobody's being honest. Like if nobody's saying exactly what you said just now, like why do y'all keep doing this safe things? Let's try something.
Yeah, well, and then the Koreans hack Sony, and then the truth comes out. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, people are like, "Wow, they really say that?" Yeah, they really do say that. You know what I mean?
But that wasn't shocking to you being in the business, right?
No, not at all, not at all. I didn't mean to hack Sony like that. Nah.
Let's give some background on Malik though for everybody.
For me, it starts with New York Undercover.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if that's where it starts. But for me,
New York. I mean,
it starts with
Cool
New York
Runnings.
Undercover.
Obviously, I think in a lot of ways, your character on Cool Runnings, you were the first self-help guru. You were before Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle and all these guys.
That was before New York Undercover?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like the Yul Brynner character, that moment where
That's
you're sitting
hilarious.
there and look in the mirror. I have pride. I have a power. I'm a badass mother. Don't take shit, no shit from nobody.
I mean, like that.
I tell that to myself when I'm having a tough day and I'm not feeling as good as I should. I look in the mirror and I imagine you talking over my shoulder, and it's like. In a lot of ways, I see this whole self-help movement. I mean, you read a lot of these books, and I'm starting to get into these books and stuff like that. But I think that was all started by Yul Brynner.
But it's funny.
You
when I
improv
was
that
doing,
whole line.
No,
That's
no,
not
no,
even
no,
written.
But when I was doing that movie, I was reading Seven Spiritual Laws of Success.
Love that
I
book.
was reading Conversations with God. I was reading Seed of the Soul.
Love
Those
Seed
are
of the
the
Soul.
books that I brought with me on location to read while I was doing that movie.
So you
So
hacked
I never
that.
even thought
All right.
about it in that way. But yeah, definitely. And that was 1993. That was 22 years ago.
So then New York Undercover.
Yeah, that came 5 months after that movie came out.
Now, let me ask you about New York Undercover, because I always wonder why Hollywood seems to have gone, it went backwards kind of, because New York Undercover was diverse.
Right.
It was black guys, white guys, Spanish guys. It's like, what happened to the diversity in Hollywood?
Well, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think that people, I think sometimes that show actually was almost like a mistake.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Dick Wolf created that show. That show was originally based on a group of cops out of Chicago called the Slick Boys, and it came to a guy named Kevin Arkadai. Who was
Dick Wolf is a great porn name, by the way.
The last man with the bush. Dick Wolf.
The last hairy dick man on the planet.
So that show came about, kind of fell in, Andre Harrell's lap. They developed it, and then Andre didn't have a TV background, but he had the deal at Universal. They put him together with Dick Wolf, and the rest is kind of history. But it wasn't like Dick sat around and was like, yo, you know what I really want to do? I really want to do a show that's about urban culture in that way. It just kind of happened. And so even for Fox at the time, it wasn't a priority. A priority was Melrose Place and Head of the Party of Five and those other shows, X-Files.
Mm-hmm.
We were kind of like, we used to call it the little ghetto show that could.
But it did.
We actually had a song. Yeah.
How'd it go?
That y'all used to sing on set?
It's a nigga and Puerto Rican, watermelon, frying chicken. Arroz con pollo, anything goes. It's the little ghetto show.
Johnny Depp used to sing it too?
No, that was 21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street. What the fuck am I talking about?
So we literally
who
used
was the Spanish guy on the
Michael
show?
Di Lorenzo.
Michael Di Lorenzo. Did he used to sing it too?
We made it up.
Okay.
I think actually I made it up, but I used to make Michael sing it. But we used to, because we didn't have a hot food truck on that show. We didn't have security. We didn't have basic stuff.
Really?
That you
was it shot in L.A.?
Nah, shot right here in New York.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
So it was one of those things.
You didn't have security?
No, man. I got security on New York Undercover when God bless the dead, but Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley came to be guest stars on the show, and
That's the closest you're gonna get to security.
They sent security for those guys.
Anthony Mason and Charles Oakley needed security?
Anthony Mason and Oak did the show. They sent security. And when the guys came up to the set, no one was really messing with them, but they were messing with us. So the security dude came over to me and said, yo, just so you know, we were told we're here for them, but we were told that you guys are sensitive, so we're supposed to act like we're here for y'all too. And so I called my agent up, and I was like, listen, a crackhead with a knife just tried to attack me on set, and if I don't have security on this show, then I can't come back to work.
Was that true? A crackhead really tried to attack you?
Maybe.
Okay.
There was a lot of crackheads around Harlem at the time. People do have knives. They had intention. So I called my agent, and that's how I got security. And that dude, his name is Khalid. He rocked with me for for 10 years. So he did that show, and then we did a bunch of stuff after that.
I got so many questions, man. First of all, what was the pay like back then?
I mean, at the time, that was the most money I ever made. It was respectable, but it certainly wasn't. It wasn't top dollar. At all. It was like, what's the bare minimum we can
SAG minimum.
Pay a star of a show. Yeah.
And
but
why?
at the time, what the hell did I know? It was my first TV series.
Yeah. So what was you doing right before that?
Well, right before that, so I did 2 other films with Miramax. I did the Cool Runnings. I did an episode of Law and Order, which I was shooting Law and Order when I auditioned for New York Undercover. Same producers and then same casting director from Cool Runnings, Leah Daniels, and Jackie Brown were involved with that, who also cast Cool Runnings, New York Undercover. But I used to run a youth program called City Kids Foundation.
Gotcha.
And I was doing that for about 6 years before that.
And you grew up in Harlem.
Grew up in Harlem in the Bronx. Yeah.
With Dame Dash.
Yeah, we had Dame on the show. He brought you up.
Did he?
Yeah.
I heard that. Yeah.
Said y'all used to live in the same building.
In the same building. Yeah.
I think he said he wanted to do something in Harlem where he shows all the people that came from that area or in that area.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Was
like
he
Black
soft-spoken
Rob, Jim
back
Jones.
then?
He's still soft-spoken.
Yeah.
Very soft-spoken.
Well, he used to be, man. I mean, Dame, I tell the story a lot. And, Dame was one of those cats that, he was, we grew up in the time in the 70s and 80s where, like, kids played outside.
Yeah.
And we lived in 1199 Plaza. That was the name of the complex in East Harlem. So there was 4 buildings, A, B, C, and D. And so there was competition among the buildings. We played sports. We play every sport. We'd like play against each building.
Did your building have a boss?
A boss?
Dame said he's never had a boss. Ever.
Well, he didn't. I mean, the reality is, so Dame was one of the younger ones, a few years younger than us, but we all ran together, and a lot of us still are close from that neighborhood.
Gotcha.
And so Dame was always like one of the younger cats. He went to private school. He went to Dwight.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Everybody knows that.
I didn't know that he went to Dwight.
He went to Dwight. He went to Dwight. But Dame was one of those kids who was
Do you know
always
what the acronym of Dwight is?
Dumb white. And
Idiots get high together.
Yeah,
that was like the white, like the rich white fuck up school.
So he was privileged in a sense.
Well, his mother had him there. I mean, he used to like do modeling when he was a kid for like the New York Times back to school specials, and so it's funny because growing up, like anytime somebody showed up in something, like like there was this girl Antoinette that had that record Video Burnout. She lived in Wilson Projects right down the block on 5th Street and First Avenue. Or Daryl C from the Crash Crew. My sister used to date him, and he had a record. And so this is like early days of it wasn't even called hip hop. People just MCing back then.
Gotcha.
So Dame, it's funny because, he was like this cute kid that would model and we tease him, and then him going to Dwight. But his mom died when he was 16 and was a trip. I never saw somebody like literally do a 180, like go from being the kid that's in private school and dressing like a private school kid to like now you like super hood. And I used to be like, yo, what are you doing? Like, stop it. Like, I remember the first time he was like 16, he showed up with a Nissan Maxima. And if you know where we lived, there was a big driveway that came off of First Avenue all the way up to the buildings, are huge. He pulls up in a black Nissan Maxima, like pulls out a wallet. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Selling drugs, of course.
No, but I know, but we lived in East Harlem.
Yeah.
So there was a heroin game like on Lexington Avenue, 110th Street in that area. That's still to this day. If you go up to 125th Street in Harlem, you see a lot of dope fiends and the methadone clinics up there. But the cats that were selling other stuff were in Central Harlem, and so he had some ties there. But it was a trip because you're a kid from our neighborhood. Now all of a sudden, like you trying to be that dude. Like, stop.
Gotcha.
He was like, little brother, stop. And then one day he shows up with a 300ZX. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like
selling drugs.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where it seemed like such a leap.
Yeah.
How
did you avoid that? Like getting in that?
My father was no joke. My father was that dude that was like, look around you. How many of your friends don't have their fathers around? I don't have to be here. My father was definitely that dude that was like, I'm here and I'm going to show you what not to do. Because he hustled when he was younger, and he used to do some stuff. In fact, he hustled when he was older. He was still like doing. I discovered later on that he had his little stash that was all portioned out with some weed, and I was like, oh, okay, so maybe he do move. But he had 6 kids,
Right,
and he used to always say, build your own generator so when they turn off the power, you still have lights.
Dope.
And so for us, it was never about doing what everybody else was doing. He was always about, no, forge your own path. You're not. Yoba is a name that he made up, and it means last of the slaves, a new generation, according to him. He took nature.
Wait, hold on. It means that, or according to him, it means that?
Well, your name was made up too. Who made up your name?
I love that. He just made it up.
He was born Milton Myers, and he took Nature Boy. It's a long story, but he took,
liked Ric Flair.
No. Before Nature Boy. So the real Nature Boy was a song by Nat King Cole, and so my father was a jazz musician. That's not how he made his living. He wanted to, but he wasn't able to. So his friends used to call him Nature Boy because he used to love to play that song, and just the way he rolled, So he took Nature Boy and spelled it backwards, which is Erutan Yob. And then he added the A when he met a dude from Senegal who told him there was a similar word, and in some Senegalese dialect, I think it was called Yuba or something like that. And so he adopted that and made it Yoba. And then he became Muslim in the late 50s, and he took on the name Abdullah. And then all of us were born in the 60s and early 70s, and so that's where my name comes from.
So what's on your birth certificate, Yoba?
Abdul Malik Yoba.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, Dame. So you said you saw Dame. You was trying to tell him to get out the street.
Yeah.
But he went from the street to becoming music mogul.
Yeah.
So he really never had a boss.
Nah.
And that's why I was trying
I never knew Damon to have any other job than what he was doing.
Could you call him a culture vulture because he grew up in this, what was it, private school, preppy look?
But he lived in Harlem.
Right.
So it's not like he was living on the Upper East Side.
So he experienced it.
Nah, but there were other kids in our building that went to private school too.
Right.
So, if you got a scholarship or your parents were aware and they made sure that you went to private school. We went to schools downtown on Upper East Side. I went to school on 96th Street. I went to Wagner Junior High School.
I went to Wagner.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait, you went to Wagner?
Yeah, I did go to Wagner.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
What I love about this story is it's 2 different experiences. It's kind of like the Outliers for real. I'm sure you read the Outliers.
Yeah.
But it's like, I was telling everybody, Dame Dash's experience is different from everybody else. Because, when Dame was on the Breakfast Club, he was saying, people with jobs have no dignity, and if you got a job, you don't got no pride about yourself, and saving is for suckers, and I never had a boss. Having a boss is like calling somebody daddy. But people haven't had the experiences you had, Dame. Like, that's not going to happen for everybody. Grow up in private school, become the drug dealer, then get into the music industry. You, on the other hand, had to go to school, actually work to get where you needed to be.
Right. Yeah. I remember, it's funny because you talk about bosses. I'm not really employee material either. I mean, I'm not. I'm not. I mean, I'm a boss for real. I mean, this is my business partner. We have a company, Iconic 32, that we started 15 months ago. But
15 months ago, so you had to grow to that.
Yeah, but I had a paper route at 8 years old.
Got you.
So in Harlem,
Word.
in where we grew up. So from 8 years old, I was making my own money. I didn't have a boss. It was a bunch of us from the neighborhood that realized if we got up early on a Sunday morning and delivered newspapers to people's door, we had 32 floors in our building. So at 8 years old, after working a couple hours, I might have had $40 in my pocket.
But someone had to pay you money.
Where'd you get the newspapers from?
No, because, see, the cool thing about Harlem at that time, there was a store in the building called Cards and Stuff. It was a stationery store. They had one in East Harlem. They had the other one in Central Harlem by what's that?
What street?
Like 140-something. Esplanade Gardens. So they had one up there. But the guys that owned it were straight old school hustlers. Like, they ran numbers out the back. They were from the South. They were number runners that had these legitimate fronts. So, we grew up in Harlem. That's when people had credit. Like, you go to the store and you couldn't afford it, and they had a little sheet, and you get the milk or the bread on credit.
Get your legs broke if you don't pay your bill.
Yeah, people go in the back and buy, get their numbers, and that was just normal. Like, before New York State Lotto, like, it was the old ladies and the people. So
there's a lot of
Ray
bodegas in New York that are still run like that.
Yeah. So Ray and Nick, who ran the own Cards and Stuff, they liked seeing young hustling kids. So, like, when there was the blackout in 1977, we were those kids that like all the power went out, we opened up the fire hydrant on First Avenue on 8th Street and took buckets of water and walked that shit up 32 flights for the older people so they could have water, and like made money. And because having the father that I had and having...
You hustled the thirsty old people?
It was a hustle. Delivering, with the kids at the grocery store when you pack your bags, getting a couple of change. Like, that's what you did. You figured out a way to make some money. And my father was always like, go out there and get it and build your own. So
where'd y'all get the newspapers, though?
So this is what I'm saying. So Nick and Ray, who own cards and stuff, they liked the fact that they had, first of all, they sold the newspapers, but for them, they were like, if we can get these kids in the neighborhood that are willing to deliver the papers for us, then we can order more papers and everybody makes money. So they gave it to us on faith. It's funny you asked that.
On
because
consignment.
Not even consignment.
Really?
It was just it's funny because they trusted us. They were like, all right, you come in on a Sunday morning, I'm going to take 15 New York Times and I'm going to take like 35 Daily Newses and put them in the old school, the shopping carts that you would, I don't know how, I guess I stole it from the supermarket or something, but I had a shopping cart and I put my papers in the shopping cart and I start on the 32nd floor and then work our way down all the way to the bottom.
But you could argue that those guys were your boss. And there's nothing wrong with that.
They didn't want anything back from you?
All we had to do was pay for the newspaper.
Yeah.
So, but they gave us the newspapers up front and all we had to do was come back with the money from the papers we sold. Anything we didn't sell, we just returned.
So those were your bosses.
Yeah, they were just really bad employers.
Yeah,
they just didn't profit off of you, off of your work in any way.
But it's funny because I never, honestly, until this conversation, I never really thought about it. But they were just, I could imagine like now being an older person.
They set a seed in young kids, hey, hustle work.
There was 8 of us. There was 4 buildings, and 2 of us took a building each. So it was 8 of us. My brother was one of them. My boy John. Damon didn't do it, but
why would you when I'm selling dope?
Well, he was younger.
Oh, he was 8. Yeah, my bad.
I did that. I did that from 8 years old.
He was busy sailing or some private school shit.
16.
Okay.
8 years old, and then by the time I was about 14, one day a week I worked in the store just like as a stock boy, selling ice cream. It was a candy store, stationery store, ice cream, that kind of thing, and so that was my little hustle.
Question. Yeah. We bumped into each other last week or 2 weeks ago at ABC auditioning for some shit. And I tell you my little story about, the show that I had auditioned to before and, it didn't work out in L.A.
What you auditioning stuff for? You on Empire, dog.
Well,
not audition, but, he gets brought in for, like, roles. It's a little different, obviously.
I still audition, though.
But it's got to be some big shit. You're not going to audition for, like, some side shit.
Well, they will ask sometimes.
But you ain't going to do it.
I don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're in there, and I'm breaking that down, and you start to... I'm breaking down what happened to me, which the listeners already found out. And you broke down to me a story that I thought was crazy. Before we get into Empire, which people know you from now playing Vernon on Empire, right? Actually, real quick story, which is really funny. When we first see each other, I remember you were on this show called Alphas, right? So it's me, you and the casting director sitting right there. Casting director is this nice white lady. I mistook Alphas, because it's on Sci-Fi, for this show Psych. Right? So I'm like, yo, what's up, man? So how's Psych? Now, Psych, there's a black guy and a white guy on the show, right?
And actually, that dude is Puerto Rican.
Oh, the black guy?
The white dude is Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican, right. Yeah. So basically, I go, how's Psych? And thinking it was Alphas, but it's on Sci-Fi. Now, I think she thought that I just mistook you for any other black actor.
For Dule Hill.
Yeah, or whatever his name was. So I see her go, okay, guys, and like awkwardly just...
They all don't look alike.
Exactly. Like I'm just going to exit this awkward racial conversation right now. And I didn't want to like stop her like, no, because Psych and Alpha and on Sci-Fi and the whole thing. So I was just, let her think I'm a racist. Fuck it. But so we start talking, and you break down a crazy story about New York Undercover.
Right.
We were talking about how the industry can be cruel. He breaks down this crazy story about New York Undercover where they were going to kill...
Did you let him tell the story?
All right,
go ahead, because go ahead.
Where they were going to kill off your partner without even telling him.
Right.
So
what?
This is the fucking... The lead of the show with you. You guys are co-leads, right?
So clearly you don't want me to die on the show then.
Right. Yo, just watch. Just listen. I mean, this is crazy. Okay.
No, they just told him, he called me up and said, yo, are you sitting down? And I said, what happened? He says, they're going to kill off Eddie.
Who is he? This is the
Michael
writer.
DiLorenzo.
Oh, Mike DiLorenzo.
Who
Yeah,
played
yeah.
Eddie.
Eddie. Okay. Yeah.
Torres. He's like, yo, they're gonna kill off Eddie. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yo, I just got a call from Judy, one of the writers, and they're gonna kill him. And he said that they were originally just gonna, if you remember the episode, he gets in the car and the car blows up. But they were going to have him get in the car and drive away, and then do the explosion in post production and not tell him. And so,
holy shit.
And so Judy, because she was friends with him, friends with both of us, she was like, I can't do that. Like, so she called him and told him.
Yeah.
And then he told me. And so, yeah. But that's the game, man. Yo, Richard Brooks, who was on Law and Order, he was on vacation in Africa on a safari, and he found out don't come back for the next season. He was on his hiatus, quote unquote, and found out don't come back for the next season.
And they will tell you during, like they told Eddie during this whole time, the guy DiLorenzo or whatever, the
Michael.
whole time, hey, you're doing a great job. We love it. All this season's amazing. Like they won't let you know that you're going to get killed off. They'll tell the exact opposite.
What was the reasoning for him getting killed? Though, was Spanish people weren't translating on TV at the time?
Nah, man. It's just, man. You're never really privy to all the reasons why people make these decisions, but I think that at the end of the day, actors, it's a weird thing with actors, right? So actors are dispensable, right? Disposable, particularly when you're starting out. That's kind of how people look at things. And the history behind that story is Dick Wolf used to be a writer on Miami Vice, and Don Johnson got him fired off of that show for some dispute that they had. So when Dick was in a position to be an executive producer, he set his shows up to make sure that, like, he was in control. So that's why a show like Law and Order was always about the case and never about the actors.
Yep.
So
Dick Wolf.
Yeah.
I wonder what they told the first Aunt Viv.
Right.
Remember the first Aunt Viv from Fresh Prince?
Well, that was it. Yeah, that was Janet. You talking about Janet?
Yeah.
There was some issues with her, so she had to make a move. But that's the way it happens, man. They feel like actors are expendable until you get to a point where you're considered A-lister, or the actors sometimes can be bigger than the show. Then they treat you, they'll bow down to you. But they just feel like actors are a dime a dozen, so they can kind of treat you.
I don't want to jump to Empire yet. I want to know how you got the acting bug, because we got the paper route. You did that from 8 to 16. Right. Then what?
So for me, man, I saw Alice in Wonderland when I was 4. I went to see an off-Broadway play, and I was like, I want to do that. My father wouldn't put a TV in the house, so it wasn't like I was watching TV saying I want to be on TV. It was really about theater and growing up at a time when you had arts programs in school. So I was always in the drama club, and I just loved doing plays, school plays.
Where'd you go to high school?
First I went to Park West, and then I went to Richmond. And then
Julia Rich.
Then I went to City As, yeah.
That's crazy.
I bounced around a little bit. But, so for me, it just started young. Just wanted to be on Broadway.
You went to City As, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. That's my brother, Greg, by the way.
You went to Wagner.
I went
to City As.
Yeah,
Your motherfuckers have been following me.
Hey, all day, man. New York City shit.
Yeah.
So you got the acting bug. So I'm trying to figure out, why did it take Fox, when New York Undercover was, like 93?
94 to 98.
Okay. So why did it take them I'm terrible at math, but it took them a long time to come out with Empire. Why?
I mean, I don't know, man.
Like, especially being that Fox was built on
but
living colors.
They don't look at it like that, man. I mean, they were doing that. It was an economic game, right? So at the time, Fox, in order to be a network, you had to have 13 hours of original programming. Mm-hmm. They had 9. And then so because all the other networks had everything else covered, they looked at, well, we can be niche and do shows like WB did the same thing. Mm-hmm. Let's serve communities that aren't served. We can build to scale, and then we can charge more for advertising. We make more money, then we can do more mainstream programming.
We can be BET without saying what BET.
Yeah, it was that kind of thing. And I mean, at the end of the day, man, people who make the decisions don't always reflect the people that are on the screen. So that's really what it's about. It's not like I just think it's an advertiser game. So at the end of the day, who are you're trying to get the most amount of money for your 30-second spot. Mm-hmm. So you want to sell advertising against that content, and what's going to give you the most reach. It's really about economics. It's not necessarily about race. in that sense, because they're not necessarily thinking, I don't want to put black or Latino or Asian or Native American or Indian or any other demographics that's not represented.
Who makes me money?
Yeah, that's really all it is.
Yeah.
And so there's that, plus you have, the writing community, people who even know that they can write, in terms of that it's an option as a career path. A lot of times it's not people of color that are coming up with shows. And so it's really more of a function of just how the business is set up than people sit around, no black people involved. I'm sure there are those, obviously.
But it's not a meeting where white people come together and say, how do we stop black people from having TV shows this year?
No, I just think that people are looking for, when they wake up in the morning, they look in the mirror, they look at their kids, they see themselves.
Sure.
And they want to do shows that reflect that. And I think that that's true if we were in Asia. It's the same thing.
So what is Empire's success?
What about it?
What do you think? Why do you think people are so drawn to it? I haven't seen it yet, by the way.
I love it.
Still?
I'm boycotting
Yeah, I
it.
saw you like
I'm boycotting it for you.
I love it. I love it.
I'm boycotting it because I'm loyal to you. Wagner to the day I die, Malik.
I love it so much that I watch it in real time.
Right.
I'll go home every Wednesday night and I watch.
Monday Night Football. That's your Monday Night Football.
Yeah. No, I'm a Cowboy fan. That's what my Cowboys playing. But I watch Empire in real time every Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
Right.
I feel like you're getting killed, man.
Why do you watch it in real time?
Because I like to tweet about it. You know what I'm saying? And I think social media has changed the game with television, because if you're not tweeting about it, you feel like you're missing out on something. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you don't watch it in real time, you're gonna hear about it any fucking way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So we know that his character gets killed.
It is absolutely gonna happen.
Yes.
I felt like that
Gonna
last
happen,
week.
It's already dead. Why aren't you watching it real time? It's Thursday today.
Real time.
Oh, it's Thursday today. Okay, my bad. All right, I'll play along. But when I was watching it, I'm like, yo, you got the G Money thing happening. It was like the G, you was on the coke and you was getting a little loose, and plus you know the secrets of Lucius because you cleaned up his murder. So you gotta get rid of you, buddy.
So I spoke to him about this, right?
Right.
And his first reaction was, well, how do you not know? Because I told him I spoke to you, and it was like, well, how do you not know that you're going to be killed off? And you don't know. You don't get the script for the whole season, right?
No. In fact, it was very close to that Michael DiLorenzo situation on New York Undercover.
What?
Where you're told, literally, by episode 10, you're looking at the script and yo, this doesn't look good. And so you sit with the head writer and you go, so where's this going? And she's like, don't worry about it. Nah, he's gonna be the one to save the day.
So they're lying to you actively.
I don't know. I can't call her a liar. I don't know what she knew or didn't know, but I know what she told me, that it wasn't going to happen. And then the very next episode, Lee Daniels calls me while I'm down in Ferguson, Missouri, raising money.
Raising money for a guy that just got killed. So he's calling you to tell you that you're going to get killed.
Yo, that's the secret. Don't put it out there, man.
Raising money for a program called Save Our Sons that the Urban League put together to train 500 underemployed and unemployed black men in job readiness. And so it's a great program. And I set up a screening for Empire. We raised like $6,000. And so I literally came back from the radio station setting it up. And I get a call saying, oh, man, Maliki, we're going to have to kill, Vernon's going to have to go. I'm like,
Lee calls you Maliki?
Yes, a few people do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know where they get it from, but people.
Well, they can't have a nickname, bro. They can't have a nickname.
No. I expect Lee Daniels to be giving guys nicknames, but I'm like Maliki. I expect that from Lee. His Instagram is like what, original Big Daddy?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so he tells you what is going through your mind when Lee. First of all, Lee calls you.
Right.
So what's going through your mind?
Well, first thing honestly that went through my mind when I looked at the phone was on the desk and I looked down and see Lee's name. I hadn't talked to him in a couple of weeks, and so usually it's a good conversation about something, the show or something else that's going on. But instinctively, I just knew. I said, I'm not surprised. I said that was my first words were like, word.
I'd have been like, man, fuck you. I should have did Blackish. Turned down Blackish for this shit.
Nah, it was really me just going I was like, do you know where I am right now? I think that was the second response. It was like, word, do you know where I am? I'm in St. Louis, dude, raising money for the community on the strength of Empire. all the things that we should be doing with this show.
Gotcha.
Right? Using the show to promote social good, which is why, what our company does is using pop culture to really drive change, and which is possible. And so I was like, really? Well, I'm not surprised because y'all haven't really written much for the character.
Really? It seems like he's in every episode, though.
He was scheduled, contracted to be in 10 of 13, and then the show order went down to 12, so 10 of 12. So I was in episode 9, and then they're doing this. Then the finale was 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
So that's really episode 11 and 12. So the first half of the finale, you don't really see Vernon. You hear about where he might be, and then you see him toward the end of the episode. But for me, it was a shock. It was like, okay, so why? Well, it has nothing to do with the work and with you, and Fox decided that somebody should die and kill him off.
They already killed Bunky.
Yeah, but see, Bunky wasn't a contracted regular. Bunky was a day player. Like a lot of everybody that you see on the show is not contracted to be in every episode. Only 7 of us were, and so. As in terms of the series regulars, I was the first one to get that call, and so they had to decide it should be anybody. Apparently, Fox was like, somebody should die, and so there was like a Russian roulette, like who should it be? Should it be the son? Should it be? And so the dictate was a beloved character should have a shocking death in the season finale.
Kill Dre, man. Get his bipolar ass out of this. Get him the fuck out of there.
Yeah,
man.
fuck Dre.
Jesus Christ.
That guy's a jerk. That guy's an asshole. Hate that guy. Always watching him and doing his things.
So.
Now, mind you, we're taping this on Tuesday, but pretending this on Thursday, so I have no idea how he gets killed, what happens. So if I'm not talking about it, that's why. I don't know.
Okay, so immediately after, what goes through your mind? Because you know how popular this show is. Everybody's talking about this show.
Well, you got to remember, so this was 5 days after the premiere. So it was only
shit.
It was 2 days before it got picked up for a second season. So it wasn't like, I'm sitting there and the ratings are going up every week for 9 straight weeks, and the whole world had really caught on yet. It was like we were 1 week in, not even a full week.
So as the show picks up steam, you are hurt every single week because it's
in a small way. You want the show to fail.
No, not
you
at all.
To do better.
Be honest.
No.
Isn't it like being like a star player's on the bench
man.
and the team goes on a winning streak?
Bro.
Say what?
You're right.
Look,
you're
man,
right.
I move in the world with love, bro.
I'll hate. You gonna fire me? I hope your shit goes down. Fuck that
You gonna
shit.
kill me off?
Brilliant idiots don't have Andrew Schulz. I hope it tanks. Fuck Charlamagne to God.
Are you coming back as a ghost or anything?
I don't know. I'm supposed to come back as a director. We'll see. They said that I can direct on there on season 2. I've been promised, so we'll see what happens. But it definitely, man, it was the hardest experience in my career in terms of, because first of all, it's hard enough to get a show.
Yeah.
This is my 13th series. I'm a bit of you talk about outliers. There's not many actors that have been a series regular.
Don't just say actors. Put that black in front of that, man.
No,
especially
actor,
black
period.
actors.
No,
actors.
Actors, period.
Yeah.
I've done more TV work than all of my white friends.
What in 13? New York Undercover?
We started with New York Undercover. Right after New York Undercover, I did a show called Trinity that was short-lived on NBC. Right after that, I did a pilot with Forrest Whitaker, directed with Nia Long, called Blackjack, that didn't get picked up. Right after that, I did a show called Bull, which was a Wall Street show back in 99, 2000. That was TNT's first series. We shot 22 episodes. They only aired 10. After that, I did a show called, I think I did The Days. That was an ABC show. Then after that, I did a pilot for a CW show called Prodigy, where I played almost like a Professor X, like a headmaster at a school for ridiculously gifted kids.
For A-Town, Ontario.
Yeah. So I did that, and then I think after that, I think Thief was after that. And that was on FX, so that was actually a Fox show, Fox Studio show. We were supposed to do 12. We only did 6 episodes. That was Andre Brower and Clifton Collins Jr., Michael Rooker, Linda Hamilton was in that. And then after that, I did, I think, a show called Reigns with Jeff Goldblum. And funny because Luis Guzman was
I know
playing.
Luis
I was a
Guzman,
ghost in that actually, and then Luis got killed. They replaced Luis. They did the pilot and then reshot it with me, replacing Luis, who's my homie forever, who I love. So
You guys know Luis Guzman. Anybody's
Yeah.
listening. He's the guy. He's in
everything. He's done like
he's like the
100 movies.
fat Puerto Rican guy.
Now he's fat, but he wasn't back in the day.
Really?
Yeah. He
I
was
never
skinny.
imagined him skinny.
I saw him. I was just watching a movie the other day. Was it Carlito's Way?
yeah.
Carlito's Way,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he was skinny. He was skinny in
He
that
was in
movie.
How to Make It in America.
Yeah.
He was the guy who
He was in
owned,
New York Undercover 100 years ago.
Really?
Everybody, any actor in New York was in New York Undercover.
I can't
Even
imagine
actors.
him not like because his voice is fat.
Bless you.
So I can't imagine him speaking in a skinny voice. You know what I mean? Do you know who Luis Guzman is?
I know that.
He has a
that.
lisp.
Yeah,
He's like a Puerto Rican dude, a little bit of a lisp.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So that's all 13? Was that
No, that's
13?
not 13.
Okay.
So it was Reigns after that, and then there was a show called I did a pilot for a show called Inseparable that didn't get picked up. So 13 is pilots that either went
Gotcha.
or didn't get picked up.
I'm just waiting for you to name one I know.
Exactly. And then after Reigns, there was something called Inseparable. I did that, and then after Inseparable, I did a show called Defying Gravity. We did 13 episodes of that. That was for ABC. And then after Defying Gravity, I did Alphas. And that was till 2012. And then 2014 was Empire.
That's a strong career, brother.
Yeah. And that's just television. I mean, there's been over 30 films, a lot of independents. And then theater and, everything else. So
it has to piss you off just a little bit.
No, it was more disappointing. Like, pissed off is, if you
How do you do interviews knowing you're killed off? How do you promote the show knowing you're killed off?
And what if you don't trend on Twitter? What if you die on Wednesday?
I don't think it will.
And no Vernon, no Malik Yoba.
I honestly have zero expectation that anybody's going to really care. I
Yes,
think
they will.
No.
Absolutely.
Listen.
Absolutely.
You
know how I know? Because last week I was tweeting. I'm like, I think they're going to kill him. And I really didn't know at the time. I was like, I think they're going to kill Vernon's character. I'm like, he wild. I'm like, this really look like G Money in New Jack City.
Right.
And people was retweeting the fuck out of it. Like, we was having a conversation about it. Like, really? You think they'll kill Vernon? No, I think Dre's going to die. And I'm just...
Yeah, no, I think there'll be, I mean, from in order to the reason why I've had the love that I've had, forget the career, the love that I've had over 20 years from television is because J.C. Williams was a groundbreaking character that people cared about.
Right.
There was so much heart and love and intention that went into, let's present this young father who's responsible for this little boy, who's like about it in the streets, who's responsible as a police officer. So there was a dynamic and layers to complexity to a character that seeped into the consciousness and the spirits of people globally.
You still
And
get
so,
hit up today about that from
every
people,
day,
right?
every single day.
I remember when we met first at Caroline's.
Yeah.
You came back. I think you came over to the green room. Maybe it was Cypher's show or something like that. And I remember as we were leaving, there were people like shouting it out, "Yo, JC, hey, can I get a pic?" You know what I mean? Like, you've been in a bunch of movies and everything like that.
matter.
But that's the character that sticks out to them.
Nah, that's funny. I saw Taraji yesterday, and she said out of everything she's done in her whole life, she said it's nothing like television. She said people call her Cookie more than her own name now. More than a vet from Baby Boy, no Benjamin Buttons. Cookie.
Yeah. That's the power of television. Mm-hmm. And so I've experienced that 20 years ago. So I know the difference. So when I show up on a show like Empire with Taraji, who's amazing, and I'm a fan, I love to watch her work.
Man, she's so fine too, man.
I love to watch her work.
Built like a kindergarten pencil. It's thick as hell. Man,
Kindergarten pencils, great.
So, you see the scripts and you read it, you're like, man, they giving you gold, girl. They giving you gold. Like, this is amazing. Mm-hmm. Like, you got so much depth. And so when it's not on the paper, you already know how it's going to translate on screen. So I don't think anybody really cares. I think there's a certain amount of people that care, but you'd care more. Like, even Bunky character, like, if Bunky stayed around long enough for people to get to know who he was, the impact of his death would have been that much more.
That's why I said yours is going to be impactful.
We'll see.
You played a
well, we should have seen. We should have seen, right?
Yeah, we've seen it. It was crazy.
I think you'll trend. But I think you'll trend. You played a very pivotal role. Like, you saved Lucius' life, you know what I'm saying, by cleaning up the Bunky murder. you're in the circle. It's you, Lucius,
Yeah, well,
Dre.
we'll see.
Like, yeah.
Here's
We'll
a
see.
question.
We'll know.
For dramas, how important is it to kill people off, especially likable characters?
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean,
Not in terms of your role.
I don't know. I mean, there's so many ways to look at it, man. At the end of the day, killing somebody off means you're ending their employment. And back to Damon Dash's thing about you got to be a boss, and that my father's thing about Bill Jones generators. So when they turn off the power, you still have lights. And in terms of that piece, the only thing that made it okay for me is that we have this company, Iconic 32, and we're busy across not just entertainment, but in the tech space, in the fashion space, in sports, in art, because we work in all of those fields, doing really, really cool stuff. And it speaks to the spirit that I have, which is to be of service, number one, and to make a difference, which is why you can't wish the demise of a show, which it's not worth hating or being angry. And you look at it from a much broader perspective. No, man, because at the end of the day, God is in control, right?
Absolutely.
So however you want to look at it, we're not in control. At the end of the day, I didn't create the show.
Right.
I don't run the network. This was not my baby. They invited me to participate in their party. And if they decide, you know what, your participation is done, then you say, thank you very much. I got the money. I had the experience.
Appreciate the
and
blessing.
you move the ego out the way.
That's
and,
amazing.
And that's really what the truth is for me. And so, but how important it is, I like to see people work. So you say,
I like to see people die.
All
the shows that I love,
Yeah.
I mean, bring it to The Wire,
Yeah.
fucking Sopranos, all these like iconic shows weren't afraid to kill even the most likable guy. And I think there might be some ego with the showrunner there, like kind of what you were talking about with the Dick Wolf thing. It's going to be about the case, not the outside characters, so we can move people around. But like when I watched The Wire, and I think it was who was like the main guy, and what was the name of like the main guy in season 1 who ends up getting choked out in jail? Do you remember the characters? He was in Walking Dead. He's been around. But it's like when he was killed, I was like, well, is the show? Well, you just killed the main guy, and every day after that, every episode, I literally would watch like anything could happen.
And that's what they want. I mean, that's the dynamic. I don't think you have to do that because I thought that the promise of this show. I never knew that when I signed up for Empire that it was going to be at some point like when episode 6, which is when I covered the bunk. I was like, oh, so we doing The Sopranos right now. I thought we were doing a show that was celebrating, black folks in business, building an empire, family dynamic. I didn't know it was going to be a show that was about let me backstab you and who's getting over on who. And so it speaks to, I think the success of the show has tapped into people's guilty pleasure to see the demise of other people and to see people be duplicitous and inauthentic and power hungry and people like that. They like that kind of stuff, and that's fine. I just had higher hopes for the show, so the disappointment came from me was we're in Chicago shooting a show, and 80 plus young people were murdered over the 4th of July weekend, right? My disappointment came from why are we not on the south side of Chicago finding ways for those young people to participate and learn about production. There's 5,000 kids in the Chicago City Choir. That's a music education program. This is a show based on music. There's great opportunity to participate in that. There's amazing artists, Kahende Wiley, Loban Hamilton. They're artists on the show. So through our company, we are able to, for instance, I'm on set, I see this artwork. I'm like, yo, who did this? This is amazing. There's a artwork in the Empire office, which is broken vinyl records made into the image of a beautiful woman in the shape of a silhouette of Africa. And so I see that and I get excited, like, yo, who's that artist? I find out he's a local dude. We did an event during All-Star Weekend here with a group called Athletes for Art Renaissance Tour, where we invited Loban from Chicago and the gallery owner, Andre Gachard, that represents him, to come and, excuse me a second.
Malik comes with theme music.
To sell their artwork or auction their artwork at the event that we did that benefited Smile Design Gallery. So for me, simple things that you can position the pop culture piece to make a difference. So that was my disappointment.
Well, I heard they're doing all that in season 2.
They may be. Well, they should. They should. So for me, it's and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Andre's character is dealing with mental health. That's a very serious issue in our community. I think that you can build strategy around it. And so for me, that was important. That the entertainment piece is cool, but at the end of the day, it's a show.
Absolutely.
It's a television show. And so, yes, do we allow people the opportunity to escape the harsh realities of their life and be entertained for 44 minutes, because that's really what it is when you take the commercials out? Or do we use this opportunity to entertain them but also give them something more? And so
that should always be the goal, no matter what you do.
But it's not the goal. It's not the goal. That's not most people's goals. I mean, most people want to be famous. Most people just want to make money. Most people just want their name in lights. They want the accolades. They want the awards. And for me, I've always done this for service, going back to Cool Runnings. It's funny that you say, it was a self-help guru, Yul Brynner, because my life right before that was running the City Kids Foundation, which at one point had an office right downstairs in the basement of this building last summer. Yeah,
Here?
Yes,
Yo,
that's
full
sir.
circle, Malik.
Wow.
We moved from Leonard Street to right down in the basement of this building last summer.
We're in the engine room studios.
Exactly.
Right.
So for me, it's never been about the fame, the accolades, all that stuff. It's like, because I was that kid. Yeah, I was that kid that somebody looked at and said, "You got talent, kid. Come here. Let me show you how you can do this." You know what I mean? And
so you want to give a platform for these people like you already
you got
a platform.
to, man. You got to. You have to. What are you living for if you're not doing that? Just for yourself? Like, what's the purpose of that?
We're going to hold Lee Daniels to giving you that director job. I don't like how you just brush by that. Like, you need to put that in the air. So when he doesn't give it to you, I can give him donkey today for promising you this director job and not giving it to you. Be a man of your word, Lee.
Hey.
Can't be calling people Maliki and not giving them
a little
not promising them
directy.
what you said.
We need a little directy
Okay?
for Maliki.
Yeah.
I do think Empire's opening a lot of doors for diversity on television, especially network. I mean, not just black, like, the gay characters,
Yeah. I think things can happen by default, but I think that, when you do them with intention, they're much more powerful.
What happened with
True.
you?
That's hard. I got to Google that.
I had an
I gotta tweet
article about I read an article about you outing a character but then you didn't, but he is actually gay.
I doubt him. I mean, that's one of the saddest parts about it. The piece was about
again, I don't watch the show, so you have to give some more background.
Silly,
Jesse.
Jussie Smollett, who I love, is my little brother. Jussie has the right to present himself in the world the way he wants to, and he has every right to do that. And what was unfortunate is that people took an article where I was talking about how important it was for people to see themselves, and he plays a gay character, and it's important for people to see those gay characters, and how, like what I was doing in Ferguson, using the show for social good, the same way we did with the Loban Hamilton artwork or the bipolar issue. It's important that you not just present these issues on television, but
you
that
live it.
you connect them to resources and people who really need them in the community. And that, to me, really can bolster the longevity of the show, because it becomes that much more important for people. Yeah, you get to escape and tweet, lie, and be entertained, but now that you're entertained, your cousin is still suffering from mental health, and how the hell are we helping them?
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And so that was the issue. And so the sad part about that was it was really all the black blogs, and HuffPost was the last one to latch on, because people want click-throughs and they want likes.
So what were they saying, though? What was
they were saying that I outed him, but when I wasn't, because Jussie chose to not share his personal life. And so there was a misquote that said that I had outed him, and then that's all people wanted to focus on, because that's much more interesting to put in a headline on your blog than Malik Yoba supports gay rights in the community. No, let's make it about me telling somebody's business. It wasn't like I was like, yo, he doesn't want anybody to know, and that wasn't it. So that was unfortunate. And so you add that to the disappointment of I'm not even on the show no more, and I know it. And now the world is telling me now I'm like the bitter guy, and then it just becomes like, so it just becomes this horrible experience.
Now, we talked about it on the Breakfast Club. I said, how do you out somebody who's already gay? Because I didn't know it was a secret. I thought he was gay.
And did you think that as well? Were you operating under the auspices that this guy's out?
I've never seen who he dates, so I don't know what he does.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, and the saddest part about that to me is that who gives a fuck?
Who gives a flying
Like,
shit?
who cares? Like, it's all about who's sticking what where. Like, you know, he's a beautiful human being who's doing amazing things. He wants to be president. Like, let's talk about that. Like, he literally wants to be president. I know that.
He's black, he's a male, and he's gay. We're waiting on that.
Oh, let's go.
Whoa! She gonna get it.
What president? Why stop there?
Yeah, why stop at president?
Why just be a little president?
You've seen that already.
Be master of the universe. You got it all.
Yeah, so, yeah, man. So it's been a good ride, man. People enjoying it, but, you know, I'm excited about building our own empire. And, like, again, Sergio, you want to say something? My business partner.
Was it 32?
What do you want to say?
What's the name of the company? 32 what? Iconic 32.
Iconic 32. Yeah.
Now, Sergio, you're Latino, right?
Yeah.
Are you trying to recreate the success of
New York Undercover?
Undercover
I heard you was doing that, though. I did hear that you was doing that, Malik.
At one point, yeah, that's funny because a lady said, "Hey, it's the guys from New York Undercover." And we're walking down the street, and Malik's like, "Nah, it's not him." She's like, "Nah, that's him. That's him." So
Yo, let
like,
him live, bro.
She's like arguing with him.
Are you married?
Yeah, I am.
You're fucked. You got to milk that shit right there. Just hang out with Malik and be like, "Yeah, I'm Eddie. What's up?"
Yeah.
So you want to tell us something about Iconic 32? Man?
Iconic 32, as we define it, is a lifestyle company that drives cultural movements for social good, and we do it through pop culture, and we mainly reach younger urban audiences, and we talk to them through pop culture because that's the language of the kids. That's how you break through, first and foremost. That's what they care about. They care about sports. They care
You're
about
speaking to them
fashion.
right now.
Yeah, they care about music, and you can have deeper conversations about most anything: healthcare, public education, LGBT issues. But you have to first break through on their terms and in their lives, and that's how we do it. So we consult for global corporations that are trying to reach younger consumers, and we embed social good along the way. So it's like, if you're going to do something, if you're going to try to reach those urban consumers, we'll help you do that. We'll bridge that gap.
You got to talk in their language. Put the medicine in the candy.
And you have to do social good along the way. It's not just about selling them a sneaker. It's not just about selling, cans of soups, a new sweater. Like, if you're going to do something, you actually have to embed some social good into it. So that's the whole premise. And then we also do product development, where we develop our own fashion products. We push out a positive message. We're developing content, television shows, music. So it's a little bit of being in between community, corporate America, and pop culture. And so, with Malik being at the center of pop culture, it's a very natural fit for us all around.
What's the first thing y'all got in the pipeline?
Well, there's a lot of things in the pipeline. Like I said, we were working on a television show with one of the youngest person ever to have his own radio show on ESPN.
Who's that?
His name is Joey Brander.
Okay.
So the whole premise is a lifestyle show that embeds, again, social good and talks to that young adult teenager through the eyes of young adults and teenagers. See, that's a big problem and issue in corporate America, is that they're used to talking down to people.
Well, yeah, they think the kids are idiots. They don't realize, like, kids watch all the shows we watch. It used to be kids would watch cartoons or kids would do these kind of things, but 14-year-olds watch Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and even kids younger than that.
Watching Empire.
Yeah.
I was just in South Carolina at a meet and greet.
South Carolina, we out here, baby. Yes, sir.
Okay, where?
I was born in Charleston and raised in Moncks Corner.
Here we go.
Okay. I was just in Charleston, man.
Shout out to the Metro 803. You know what I'm saying?
Charlamagne's throwing gang signs up while he's saying. You really brought him back to his roots right there.
Kiowa
Shout out to
Island.
What's up?
Oh, beautiful. Kiowa Island's beautiful.
King Street all day, baby. We out here.
King
Meeting
South Carolina.
Meeting
Meeting Street. Yes, sir. Absolutely downtown to Charlie O.
But yeah, yo, like 6-year-olds, man, 5-year-olds, like you the guy for Empire. I'm like, how old are you?
Yeah.
Why are you watching this? But
My daughter's 6. I'll make her go to bed before Empire comes on.
Yeah. But people like it, man. People like it. So yeah.
Hey, man, we thank you for coming, Malik, man.
Thank you, guys.
I mean, it was a very enlightening conversation. One of the greatest things I saw was when you pulled out Chapstick, because everybody used to always say me and you look alike, and they used to always be like, I had the Malik Yoba permanent ashy lips all the time. But you don't have it no more, though.
First of all, I didn't have it then. See, the sad part about idiots and people don't know, and it took me a while too. So it was early it was early in the career, and I didn't realize that
I had a complex
when
about it.
you use first of all, we shot in 16 millimeter, which is a lot grainier than 35.
Yeah.
So you play it on that.
You gotta understand. But see, idiots. This is the brilliant idiots. Right? Let's focus on the brilliant part for a second, idiot.
It was the 16 millimeter that had my
People
shit
don't
looking
realize.
crazy.
So, that looks like white light, but in that white light, you've got green, you got blue, you got all these hues, right? So when they would light a scene, and you, if they put a green filter on it or a blue filter, then it's going to bring out the gray in your skin tone. So now everything is shot in digital.
Gotcha.
So it's much, it's easier, it's warmer, it's more natural. So it took me a while to realize, like, so when you light me, use amber or chocolate gels, and then that will warm up my skin, and it'll be how it naturally is.
Gotcha.
So at that time, I didn't know that. And so they're lighting me any old way, and I was like, oh, shit. Like,
Gels, to anybody who's watching, are the things that they put over the lights,
Yeah.
and they're like a filter system,
Yeah.
kind of like with Instagram, which changes the way that you...
Right.
So is that why people think I'm
camera.
bleaching?
No, because you're bleaching. They think you're bleaching because you're bleaching.
Yeah,
That's
so
what.
that's what that was about. So early in the career, I didn't know, and people like, yo, man, what? In fact, it was a, I don't know if it was Akinelli, it was somebody. I was name checked.
Akinelli, the song?
I was
Put it in your
name-checked-
mouth?
I was name checked in the record.
I remember that.
That somebody's like, yo, handsome like Malik Yoba without the ashy lips. I was
I think it was Akinelli.
I
think it was
I was
Akinelli.
like, yo, that was like, what kind of, like, that was just weird. Like, you handsome, like, what is that? You love me, but you hate
Malik,
me. Like,
let me tell you
That's how you know
something
you've always
about
been relevant, though.
Charlamagne and his lips, okay? I don't know, I just said that sentence, but the
Where is this
insecurity
going?
that comes when he puts on chapstick, you have to see the way he puts on chapstick. Nobody
Put on some right
puts
now?
on chapstick more intensely than this.
Here's
He
no
literally
some
puts
right
his
now?
finger halfway in his mouth to get the entire
Because
lip
of
covered.
Malik Yoba.
Watch how he puts on chapstick. This is the most intense
I don't
thing.
even use chapstick. Fuck chapstick.
Comedian
I felt like
Akash
chapstick was drying me out too much. I get the old school.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at how deep in his mouth. You look like you're picking oatmeal out of your
that,
teeth. You're not putting fucking
Listen,
chapstick
they used to
on.
say it to me all the time. You got the Malik Yoba lips. I'm like,
Yo, Max just said you look like Stephon Marbury.
and this shit was good. This shit been going on for years.
Yeah.
Years.
It was people were, I'll never forget. I was doing a radio show. I think it might have been Wendy Williams or something. And somebody calls in. They're like, yo, man. Because I was like, just dropping some jewels or whatever. Like, yo, man, I like what you're saying, man. Yo, everything you're saying is cool, but yo, let me ask you something. Pause. Why your lips be ashy? But the funniest thing I ever heard,
I could hear your lips on the radio.
the funniest thing I ever heard was Bill Bellamy, who's a friend.
Oh.
And I had a laugh. He was like, he was doing stand-up. He was like, Malik Yoba's lips look so ashy that when I'm watching my TV, I get up and put Vaseline on the TV.
Oh, that is funny as fuck, man.
Yo, and that was before HD.
I was like, yo,
Man.
really, Bill?
Yo,
But they
man.
were just mad because their girls all wanted me, man. It was a crazy time.
Oh, I'm sure you took down a lot in Hollywood.
Son.
Hey, Malik, thank you for coming, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you so
Sergio,
much.
right? Sergio, thank you for coming.
Morales.
Thank you,
Follow
sir.
us on Instagram at Iconic32, Curators of Progress, Malik Yoba, at Malik Yoba on all social media handles. And thanks for the love, guys.
And look out for the next thing.
Yeah, I'll be everywhere. Be everywhere.
Word.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And as always, if you listen to this show and you think we're intelligent and you learn something, you think we're brilliant, you're absolutely right. If you listen to this show and you think we don't know what the fuck we're talking about and we're just a bunch of idiots,
Yeah,
you're
absolutely
right too. It's the Brilliant Idiots Podcast. Thank you for listening.